One of the things I do with VoiceThread a lot is to introduce the class using VoiceThread. I find that it's a great way to introduce a class. I put together a PowerPoint. Again, I use a lot of images. But I think one of the reasons VoiceThread is such a good medium for this is because they hear me, they see my picture, they hear my narration. They're not just reading a piece of text, or a Word document, or instructions on the blackboard. Hello, this is Chris Unger, and I want to welcome you to what I call the System of Education class. They're actually hearing me and walking them through the purpose of the class, the assignments of the class, the expectations of the class, and I actually put in some slides at the end and say, well, you know, what questions do you have? What do you want to get out of this class, and so forth and so on. And I actually ask students that they need to at least provide at least 1 or 2 comments or ask questions or provide something on the VoiceThread. So early on in the class, apart from the discussion board, I'm already getting comments or questions or getting an idea or feel for what students are looking for in the class because they're added that commentary to the actual introductory VoiceThread that I've created for each of these classes. One of the things that happens in my class is I have groups of students read different books. So I have book groups of 3 or 4 people reading a single book, and there might be 8 or 9 books being read in a class. And I personally don't like to drill and kill people and say you need to read all 9 books. I basically say I want you to read one book intensely or intensively, and there's going to be book groups, and so 8 or 9 books are being read by different students in the course. And what they do is they do a book report, but they use VoiceThread to do the book report. I have 2 rounds of books being read, 8 or 9 at a time. So there's about a total of 18 books that are being reviewed in the course by 3 or 4 individuals or groups, individuals in a group at a time. And they use VoiceThread to create a book report. So it would be like a PowerPoint, but the book report individuals or contributors are actually providing narrative in the VoiceThread. They're actually providing narrative orally, or they're providing narrative in a video, but they're actually presenting about the book in the VoiceThread. So there may be as many as 8 or 9 slides. They're reviewing the topic of the book. They're raising questions about the book. They're tying the book and its content to their personal experience and their own thoughts around the topic and so forth. So now we have, if you can imagine, in this particular class, during weeks 1 through 3, they're all reading these books. And on week 4, there are 9 book reports that are being provided by students in VoiceThread. And in following weeks 4, 5, and 6, there's another set of books that are being read. So now we have 18 book reports that, as a student, you've only had to read 2, and you've had the opportunity to work with 2 or 3 other classmates on the book. But now you're able to access 18 books in the entire course around the topic. So the students have found that extremely valuable because rather than having to read dozens of books, they're only having to read 1 or 2 books, and they're actually learning about, if they want. I don't have them look at all the 18 different book reports, but they actually get to choose which 3 books each time they want to actually read about on VoiceThread or listen to and comment on. So now we have book reports. The contributors of the book report are providing oral or video-based commentary on the book, and the students in the class now are able to get onto that presentation and add their own commentary, which they have to do. So now we have conversations around 18 different books in the class around the topic, which you couldn't do face-to-face. You couldn't do in real time.